So you know how they say your network is your net worth? Honestly, I have lived that. And in life, like all the opportunities that I've gotten from Cambridge to Goldman Sachs, or whether even in from Karachi, I feel like my network really played a strong role in my success in life. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing all my tips that I feel that would be useful for you. And you can follow this 3-step formula to really capitalize on your network. But first, let's try to understand what is all the hype about this networking, right? So I'm someone who is very extroverted and I love to meet people and speak to people. And I want to share with you guys how networking can help you to be one step ahead from your peers, from your competitors, right? So is networking only about kind of like turning up on events and exchanging business cards? Or is it really about nurturing those relationships? So networking is connecting with people, but more importantly, I feel the magic happens when you feel that connection, when you make that connection, when you nurture those relationships and keep adding value constantly on the go. It's a constant process. It's not like a one-time process. So for example, I'll give you an example. When I had graduated from IBA, I always wanted to do a master's, and I believe in manifestation, and I would always dream of going to the world's best university, right? Be it Oxford, Cambridge. I had watched so many movies and I was always very keen. But the difficulty that I had was I had no one around me who had actually ended up going to Cambridge. So I didn't know what the process looked like. I didn't have any kind of help. So in today's world, of course, we have a lot of resources. And what I did was I one day started using LinkedIn. And on that LinkedIn, using those advanced filters, I ended up finding people who had actually graduated from the University of Cambridge. And because I wasn't too sure if people are going to be ready to help me, I was looking for Pakistanis or around my region who had actually graduated. I ended up finding one person, and how I used networking was, one, I sent the friend request, the connected request on LinkedIn, send him a message of I'm keen to go into University of Cambridge and I'd love your mentorship, right? It was just a basic cold message. I wasn't even sure if he's gonna reply, and boom, I received a response. But where networking becomes key is you keep nurturing those relationships. So what I mean by keep nurturing is once I sent him a message, then after a while, I went back sharing with him all the research that I had done about Cambridge. That person had found a really good job. So then I congratulated him on finding that job. So when I mean you have to keep nurturing, one, you have to build that, and then nurture is be in constant touch and build that network so that later in life you can use that network for your benefit and your success. I also feel networking in this time and age has become extremely important. One, it's so competitive, and it's very important to be out there to have a chat with people so they remember you. So for example, I remember speaking when I was applying to one of my jobs in the past. I remember staying in touch with a colleague who was an employee. It's very important not only to have good mentors, but also to know insider tips within companies, and hence it really gives you definitely a competitive advantage over others. And of course, if I would have remained isolated, if I wouldn't have been confident, if I wouldn't have networked, I feel the life that I have now, I wouldn't have been able to live this life without those networking opportunities and without that net worth that I have. Now let's go on to my 3-step formula on, one, building those connections, and then later nourishing those to be able to keep adding value to those relationships. So I think the biggest one is being brave enough to reach out. There's so many times where you're gonna sit back and you're gonna like think, let me message this person on LinkedIn. Please do that message now. Like, if you are thinking to apply to Cambridge, take that action now. Whether it's me, reach out to me. Whether it's anyone else who you feel can mentor you, reach out to that person on LinkedIn. Send them a message. Show them your curiosity. Show them your interest of how keen you are of learning from them, of having mentorship from them. So many times where you have a question and you think you're embarrassed to ask that question, thinking that people are gonna think you're a fool. There's no question as being silly. If you want to know one trait in my life that has really put me ahead of others or have really helped me make a great life, or has really helped, there's one strength that I have that I can share with you all is ask that question. I'm always known in my friends, in my community, that I ask a lot of questions, and that's how I feel I can, get so much knowledge from others. Ask that question. Tell people how much you admire them, what you admire about them. Maybe you were inspired by their success. Maybe you're inspired by their career journey. Maybe you're inspired by the awards. Show them what is it that you like about them and show them that interest. So, no gatekeeping. Number 2, I feel, is be a great listener. Be curious and learn. Listen, when you ask people about their story, they love talking about themselves. People love to talk about themselves. So if you give them the opportunity, what's your story? Like, how did you end up getting into Cambridge? How did you end up getting into Goldman Sachs? People love talking about what they've done, how they've done. Give them that attention. Once you give them that attention, you eventually start building a relationship. It eventually starts building that bond. Be curious, learn from them, learn their story, and give them a chance to speak about themselves. Third, but not the least, is always follow up. That's something that I've done all my life, whether it's networking events, whether it's anyone I meet, I end up meeting randomly at a shop, etc. I always, whenever I exchange like their LinkedIn or their Instagram or the number, whenever I come back, I think about and I reflect about, the conversation I had and what is it that really stood out for me. And then I would always message them, be it on LinkedIn. Thanks a lot for connecting. I'm so inspired by your career journey. Would love to have you as a mentor, etc. And even if you end up bumping into someone in a shop and you exchange numbers, it's always great to follow up on the message, right? Maybe like a WhatsApp. Thanks a lot for meeting me and sharing with you my journey, etc. All of that, right? Why is this important? Because once you meet that person, you had that good conversation. How are you going to make sure that person remembers you, right? And why you want that person to remember is because later in life that you want that person to help you, to mentor you. So how you're going to do that is make sure that person remembers you. So once you meet that person, you have a good conversation, you have an interesting conversation. Next, kind of like close that loop by making sure you do a follow message, and that way you've closed the overall conversation and make sure that the person now remembers you. I'll, for example, give you like a very easy example. So I have had like a teacher, and I love speaking about her, who is Miss Nadia. And I do it very genuinely because I am that sort of a person. But it's fine, you can learn that skill. I tend to even tag her in my posts whenever I post on LinkedIn, for example. I make sure I give her credit because I genuinely give her that credit. She was that person who stayed with me when I wanted to apply to University of Cambridge. She was my mentor. So I make sure I am a human, and I love to tell the world that she was the one who helped me. And so can you. Tag people, give them the credit, be human, be real. So if you're feeling you don't have that network, you don't know how to go ahead, you don't know what to do next, find those people, use LinkedIn, use the advanced search, find that person, and all you have to do is just send them the message. Send them the message, and the rest is history. Trust me. One honest message can change your life. That's how mine began, and so will yours. Trust me. So follow my channel for more on elite networking, confidence, career clarity, I'm always here to be with you on this journey. And together we're going to figure it out